In one of the safest, most orderly countries on Earth, nearly 100,000 people each year are believed to vanish by choice, erasing themselves to escape debt, humiliation, or relentless workplace pressure. Official numbers rarely tell the full story. What forces can make disappearing seem like the only way out, even in a place built to keep track of everyone? Bankruptcy and job loss have reshaped the meaning of crisis in modern Japan. After the economic bubble burst in the early 1990s, waves of bankruptcies left families facing debts that could never be repaid. For many, the threat was not just financial, it was the fear of public shame. Even today, more than 20% of Japanese companies report that employees regularly exceed 80 hours of overtime per month, a figure that signals not just hard work, but the grind of survival. Salarymen who once believed in lifelong employment find themselves dismissed, sometimes overnight, and their sense of honor is shattered. One former worker said he disappears in an instant and slides into a shadow life. In a society where a single missed payment can trigger relentless calls from creditors, and bankruptcy is seen as a stain that lingers for years, vanishing can start to look like the only escape. Debt and work strain are not just numbers. They become the pressure that pushes people to the edge. Divorce, family conflict, and harassment at work can turn ordinary stress into a breaking point. In homes where silence stretches for days and arguments leave bruises, shame becomes a constant companion. One woman, after months of being blamed for her husband's debts, packed a single bag and left before sunrise. Another man, facing relentless bullying from his supervisor, stopped answering calls from his parents. Reports from counseling centers describe people who vanish after years of trying to hold their families together or after a single shattering argument. The fear of disappointing loved ones or being seen as a failure weighs as heavily as any financial burden. In a society where reputation can define a person's entire future, the urge to disappear is often about escaping judgment, not just hardship. These private struggles rarely make headlines, but they quietly fuel the decision to walk away from everything familiar. The decision to disappear sets off a series of precise, almost ritual steps. Many begin by packing only what they can carry, just one bag, sometimes less. Cash becomes the only currency that matters, and bank cards and credit accounts are left behind to cut off any digital trail. Phones are powered down or discarded. Social media accounts are quietly erased. Official documents are hidden or destroyed. Those early hours are about movement. People leave home when the neighbors are asleep, slip onto late-night trains, and buy tickets with cash to avoid records. Some seek out reported or rumored facilitators called yonegeya, who for a fee handle logistics, a van that is quiet in the middle of the night, utilities cancelled, and a new address arranged with no questions asked. These services operate in a legal grey zone, but most who vanish rely on their own planning. The goal is to enter the city's flow unnoticed, avoiding registries and any place that asks for identification. Field reports note that cash-based living is essential. Every transaction that leaves a mark is a risk. In these first 48 hours, the difference between being found and truly disappearing often comes down to a handful of careful choices. Tokyo's endless crowds offer a strange kind of protection. In a city where over 40 million passenger trips happen on trains every day, a single person can vanish into the rush without a trace. The constant flow through stations like Shinjuku and Shibuya turns faces into a blur, making it easy for someone to become just another commuter, another body in the sea of movement. Short-term apartments and capsule hotels line the back streets, catering to people who pay in cash and never stay long. In places like Sanya or Kamagasaki, day laborers gather at dawn, hoping for work that asks no questions and leaves no records. One former Johatsu, speaking anonymously, described it this way: "In the city, you can be invisible. No one cares where you came from or where you are going. Poverty shapes this new existence. Rooms are cramped, jobs are unstable, and every day is a negotiation for food and shelter. Yet for many, this is the price of freedom, the chance to erase a past, even if it means living as a shadow among millions. For the families left behind, the silence is unending. Parents keep a light on by the door, hoping a missing son or daughter will return. Some gather each year at Buddhist temples, holding memorials for the living, offering incense not for the dead, but for those who have vanished without a word. One mother, speaking through tears, described her days as waiting for a knock that never comes. In the absence of answers, time feels suspended. Photos remain on shelves, mail piles up, and every unknown number brings a flicker of hope. The grief never settles into mourning. Instead, it lingers as a question that no one can answer. Legal privacy rules in Japan make searching for missing adults nearly impossible. The Act on the Protection of Personal Information blocks access to bank records, phone records, and registry data unless authorities obtain a court order or there is criminal suspicion. Sociologist Tom Gill explains that in tightly knit communities, vanishing can be a way to escape permanent social exclusion. Debt counselors say that overwhelming financial pressure combined with these privacy barriers leaves families with no real way to trace their loved ones' steps. In Japan's crowded cities, anonymity still offers escape. As pressures mount and support systems strain, the urge to vanish persists. Sometimes survival means disappearing in plain sight. Share your thoughts below.